Dr. Connie. I'm a physical therapist. I also did yoga teacher training way before I went to physical therapy school, and so I love yoga. There are a lot of things that I've kind of learned through yoga that then carried forward, and I feel like there's not quite any other form of exercise that like really centers us and incorporates the breathing in the full body. But I know we can also run into some mobility challenges when we're trying to get to certain poses. So that's where like using some extra tools, doing some extra things around our yoga practice can just make yoga feel that much better. So that's what we're here to do today. And I know they just launched the mobility class, and some of the things are like, wait, how do I get to that? How do I get to that? And so the goal is to start like, we'll do hips and low back today, and then we'll come back and do another workshop that's like knees and ankles, and then another one's kind of shoulders and neck. That way you kind of learn stuff for each set of body parts, and then you can say like, all right, I'm gonna take this one because that works for me. I'm gonna take that one because that is what works for me. And so anybody dealing with any injuries here or like aches and pains and stuff? Cool, where are you feeling it? Just,
I have like a partial tear in my hip.
Got it.
It's pretty much gone.
Yay, that's awesome. Woo!
Thanks about the physical therapy.
Yeah.
Did not help.
You know, sometimes I've found that we kind of have standard physical therapy and they're just like, hey, do these exercises, and we're not really like digging to those deeper layers or looking at like the whole mobility that we need. So yoga is that like we're getting mobility and stability, and what are we focusing on too? And that's kind of one of the things I love about yoga too, is like even the same pose for different people can have different challenge points or different things we're working on. Like for one person, that pose is all about mobility, and for another person, they're more flexy, and it's like, no, we're working on building that stability and control. So yeah, very cool. Awesome. Well, let's go through real quick and do names. That way I know everybody's names, and then this is going to be very much more interactive than a regular flow class because we're going to be testing some things out and trying some things. And if there's a pose that you know, like I have trouble with mobility here, like you know off the top of your head, let me know because we'll make sure that we hit that one as we're going through. So it's the nice thing about having lots of time and open space to do stuff. So go ahead and start with your name.
Paulina.
Paulina, nice to meet you. Cool. And then any poses that you're having trouble like getting into or things you want to work on today? Okay, no worries. Then we have time. We have time. And then how about also how long you've been at YogaSix? We'll do that one too.
I joined before they opened, so like a year.
Yeah, like right in the beginning. Nice.
Yeah, I joined in January before the student was like
Oh,
finishing
sweet. Right? That's awesome. I originally signed up before they started, and then it was like 2 months before I actually came in, and I didn't, we were at an event together at Central Park, and I'm like, okay, Maggie, I have a membership. I've tried to log in and I don't know what to do. Like, help me please. And so it was like here from the start, but not right like first week. All right, and Joyce, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Joyce. I've been actually seeing Dr. Connie, and she's very, very good. I've been working on trying to be a little more aware of my Warrior 3. So, I mean, yeah, I could always like pop into it, but am I actually doing it correctly? Am I activating the glute? Am I actually using this versus this? So I've been working on trying to get that a little better.
Yeah, yay, right.
I joined in that weird January. Yeah. Like, what do I do with this? Okay. And then they just had like a soft opening, and I'm like, hey, I'm one of your people. Like,
Right? Like, let me in. Yeah.
So that's how long I've been at YogaSix.
Yeah, cool, nice. All right, go ahead.
So my full name is Alicia, but I just put Allie for short.
Cool.
But this is the first, I guess, class workshop that I've taken here at YogaSix.
Oh,
And
cool.
Anything, I just wanted to see what it was like, and then
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna be 50 in a couple of weeks, so I
Woohoo.
just want to.
Yeah,
So I
right.
just want to work on, I guess, just mobility and
Yeah.
being able to move as we get older, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't use a lot of our
Yes.
muscles, so.
Yep, it's one of those, we don't use it, we lose it, and we just keep going downhill. So we want to make sure that we're going uphill, right? Perfect, well welcome, yay, first time. So the other classes are much more like yoga flowing and stuff, and today we're just going real slow with some stuff.
So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, that's
Right,
perfect
right.
for me right
You're like,
now.
perfect starting spot.
I don't want to be, and then it's so
Yeah.
get out of this.
Right. And they're very nice in the classes where like, don't feel pressured to like keep do the things. Like if you need to take a break and pause, just Listen to your body. You're all good, right? Perfect. Yay. All right, go ahead.
Kristen,
Nice.
I joined that one before it opened too, so.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. And are there any poses that are like spots where you feel like you get stuck or are looking to get better mobility?
Not as much, but my back and my hips are what bothers me the most, so that's why
Okay.
I figure.
Yes, right? Like, let's figure out what's going on here. Perfect. Thanks, Kristen. Yeah.
I'm Jamie. I joined, they had a Mother's Day special last May before they opened. And I just
Nice.
had to put my dog down like right
Oh,
before that, so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm buying this for
You're like,
myself. I
yes.
joined officially before they opened. I
Yeah.
have a torn meniscus in my left knee.
Okay.
CrossFit as well, so
Yeah.
definitely all the poses on the balancing on
Yeah.
the left side
Are not quite.
very hard.
Got
Left
it, got it.
pigeon, I would like help like getting better in the pigeon on my left side.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, we're gonna work on some muscles that'll help the pigeon too. And the pigeon one is like, it can also be the joint or the muscles. So we'll kind of get into this. The mobility, I wanna make sure we clarify what mobility is versus the stability too. So like in mobility class, you're kind of doing both. You're doing mobility, stability. Mobility is like can I move my joints and my muscles and my nerves through that motion? And so that's really what we're working on today is, are my muscles tight, are my joints tight, are the nerves tight? We're gonna do mostly muscles and joints today, but every once in a while the nerve is in the background just like, no thank you, let's not go that way. So sometimes we gotta get the nerve too. And then stability is really like, okay, now that I can move through that motion, can I control it? So when you see people on like Instagram doing the single leg squat all the way down to the floor, it's like, first you have to have enough motion to do it, then you have to also have the control to do it. So today is all about getting that first amount of motion, and then as you're going through the poses, that's where we work on that control too. So we'll get into that. Next, we're talking about muscles and joints today. So hip joints, we'll talk about how to get to there, especially in pigeon. Sometimes the joint just gets a little bit tight. We'll also work on the muscles like the glutes, the hamstrings, and how to get those loosened up so that you can get that leg into that pigeon pose too. Cool, so we'll definitely hit pigeon. All right, cool. So I do have some pictures and stuff of the muscles because I know sometimes it's like, what are we looking at? So I've also got them on the iPad, and I'll make sure that I send these to you guys too. Sure. We may have to share for a little bit, let me see. But at least then when we're talking about the muscles, you can also see them and get an idea. And I have the iPad so that we can pull up kind of bigger pictures and zoom in while we're talking about them too, okay? All right, so, whoop. All right, let me actually just go to photos because that will be the best picture. All right, so there are a ton of muscles, right? There is a lot going on. This is from the front of the hip, right there. And so we've got muscles that are going on the thigh, that are going across the hip, and even going up to the low back. And that's why sometimes we'll even work on things at the hip to get the low back moving better. Things like, does anyone have back pain in like upward dog or back bends or? Yeah, sometimes. Okay, so what can happen, and whoop, these ones we're gonna work first. So these are some of the most commonly tight hip flexors. They go right from the front of the hip up to the pelvis here, and from the front of the hip actually to the vertebrae of the low back. Okay, so if that one's tight, then as we're trying to move backwards, to do back bends, to do up dog, if we're really locked down in the front of that hip, we won't be able to move through the back without back hurting. All right, so everybody go ahead and stand up. We're gonna try. Just kind of feel in that back bend. Let everybody kind of see how it feels. After we loosen these up, it may not be, if you don't have pain, then it may be just, hey, I can go farther. Cool, how's everybody feeling there? Anybody feel stuck in the back? Nope, okay, perfect, no worries. And then how are we feeling going forward here? We're gonna kind of just reach hands down, just see how far you can go, how far either fingertips or palms get toward the floor. We're gonna also recheck this at the end. Now, real quick while you're here, kind of feel where you're feeling it in the back of the legs. Nobody's feeling this in the low back, right?
No.
Okay.
I feel like, not pain, but there's definitely a sensation there.
There's like some pull. Okay, got it. So we're gonna wanna check that. once we've loosened up things in the back of the hips to see if when we can get a little bit farther, okay? So take note of what you're feeling and kind of how far you can go, and then we're gonna recheck this after we loosen a couple things up, okay? Perfect, so we kind of checked our forward bend, we checked the backward bend, and then let's really quick, pigeon is usually when we warm up a little bit more for, but let's just check and see kind of where we're at, then we'll reassess when we get to the end too, okay? So to get into pigeon, you can walk your hands toward the front of your mat, get toward that downward facing dog pose, sending the hips back toward the back wall. You're gonna pick up, let's say your right foot up toward the air, and then right knee comes through toward the hands. We're gonna turn the leg and set it on the ground. Good. Then you can get down into your pigeon pose. All right, so a little bit tight on this one, right? And then everyone kind of take note of where you're feeling it on this side. Good, and kind of how close your butt is toward the ground, because that's something that we're gonna look at as we're going. As we loosen these up, we'll be able to get a little closer. Perfect, then we're gonna switch sides. So untuck the toes on your left foot, lift that right leg back and up. You can shake it out if you want in that downward dog. Set it down. Then we'll lift up the left leg up toward the ceiling, drive that left knee toward the hands, then turn the foot out and set it down. Good. So we get an idea of where we're at on this side. Good. Right, so this side is much different. So then that's gonna give us some targets on the other side. So with the pigeon, not only do we need to loosen up the back of the hip on this side, we also need to loosen up the front of the hip on this side. So that's why this one, it requires both things, and we'll test it. What are you feeling on this side when you get here?
Pain, and definitely in the knee and behind the knee.
Into the knee, okay, got it. So we'll keep an eye on it as we go. If we work out these massage techniques and you still feel it, then we'll kind of go at the end a little more in depth of what's going on, okay? All right, perfect. Go ahead and lift that leg back up. Whew, shake it out a little bit. Whew, and come back down. We'll go to tabletop and up. Cool. All right, so we've got kind of our first assessment of where we're at. Then we're gonna work on a couple things, and then we'll come back and test the back bend, the forward bend, and pigeon. All right, cool. So let's start out with the muscles in the front of the hip. I do have a little baby in here, so I will not be like aggressively rolling on these as much as I normally would. Normally I'd be like, you're gonna get way in here, but there's a little person in there right now. So not due until January. So we got some time. Thanks. We're excited. It's baby number 3, and we have a boy and a girl, and the boy wants a boy and the girl wants a girl, right? Welcome. Okay, so these little massage balls, they're just lacrosse balls.
Yeah.
So they're right, they are available everywhere. And now for this one, it's gonna feel more comfortable like on your knees if you're on your mat, but if you're on a really firm surface, it is going to get up in there way better. So these are the muscles that we're aiming for. And we've got the one right on the inside of the pelvis. So you've got the bony part right here on yourself. You feel that bony part in the front. And then you're gonna go just inside of that. And then we're basically gonna lay down right on top of the ball. You're looking for spots that are a little bit tender. So that tenderness is your body's way of saying like, hey, I'm tight, I need help right here. And now we are going to be gentle on ourselves. We're not getting there and like rolling it really fast and really hard. That will just make it feel bruised. We want to go nice and slow, almost like you're rolling out dough to get those muscles relaxed. So let's go right inside of that hip bone. I'm going to go just off of here again so that it's a little bit more firm. It helps if you put it down, lay down, and then kind of move around to find the spot. Yep, perfect. So laying all the way down. Yep, getting on those elbows can help. And then you're just going to kind of turn a little bit to find that spot. Anybody tender there?
Yes.
Yep, yes, right. Are you on your left side or your right, your left side? So what's cool too is you can use this almost as like a mini diagnostic, and so you can compare left side versus right side and see, gosh, where am I more tender and where do I need to get this loosened up? So we'll go just for like 1 minute on this one. You can do a slow roll up and down. So kind of pushing on the elbows to roll a little bit up and a little bit down. Good. Taking nice, deep, slow breaths can also help to relax those muscles too. Sometimes being up on the elbows can kind of help the muscle push into the ball, or laying all the way down and really resting your weight down toward the ground can also help get into that ball. Perfect. We're gonna go just a few more seconds here, and then we're gonna aim for that one that goes a little closer to the spine. Good. All right, so now you get to just scoot over a little bit toward your ball. I'll kind of sit up so you guys can see where we're going. So if you imagine from your belly button to this bony part here and draw a line into the middle, that's where you're gonna find the psoas muscle. And so it's right here going up and down on the spine. Right there, going up and down. And that one's the one that attaches to the low back. So it's gonna be more toward the belly button. And as you go higher, it's more toward the spine. As you go lower, it's more toward the hips. So it's following this pathway. Cool. Is anybody tender on that one? Nope, not as bad on that one? Yeah. Cool. That's all right. And this one, if you need help finding it, we can always flip over onto your back and I can come push on it for you. That way you can see where it's at, right? Because they're not the easiest to find. All right, no worries. Go ahead and flip over for me. All right, so the first one we did is more over on the side over here. Let me do your left side since that's the one. All right, so here's the first one, and it runs up and down this way. And then the next one is a little bit deeper down in here. And you're going like right there. Is that a little tender or not so bad?
No.
Okay. Yeah, yours doesn't feel so bad. It actually lets me push into it. So that might be why you're having trouble finding it, because it's fine. Whew, good job. Whew. Kristen, do you want me to check yours?
Maybe, I don't know. We think
Okay.
we're right, but we don't know.
Right? That's okay. Right? You're like, I think I'm in the right spot. Okay, so here's the first one, that iliacus. That one's really good, so it's let me push into it. Then the psoas is right in here. Ooh. Yeah, does that one feel a little tender?
A little bit,
Yeah, and so it runs kind of up this way and then a little bit more down. It's not bad here by the hip, so it's just for you right there in the middle of the muscle. Yeah, go ahead and try that one. Yep, let me get over here. So that's the first one, and yeah, you're doing really good right there. So see how I can like sink into it? You're like just a teeny bit tight right there on the lower part of it. Then the other one is up more toward the belly button. Yeah, you're doing good right there. Awesome. So that one's not tight. Let me just check your other side. See if you'll find your psoas over here. So that's the iliacus. This one's a little bit more tight over here. So definitely do that one. And then that one's a little bit more over here. Okay, so you can feel on the other side when it's not tight, it's no big deal. It just, you squish into it, the muscle's fine, it's not tender. But on these guys, so right here by that bone, and then a little bit more like in and down there. These ones are not the easiest to find, so it takes a second, and sometimes having it pushed on, you're like, oh, okay, there's where I'm going. Yep, perfect, and then you can try laying down on it and getting there. Cool. Joyce, how you doing on these ones? So the first one's right here. And you're doing good on that one. Yeah. For you, but this one's gonna be more your guy. Right? And then that one's doing good. Good job. Yeah.
I'm doing this. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, so if you want, you can try the other side and then hit right there. All right. Let's see how you're doing. So a little bit right through here. Yep. And then kind of track in. It gets better as you go up that way. And let's see that psoas. Like a little bit right there. Is that one a little tender?
No.
Yeah, not too bad. Cool. And we're kind of tracking up and down with that one. Let me see your other side. We'll just double check it.
I like this side.
Yeah.
Tighter.
Like right there. Neither of them is like too bad. And then how's that one? Yeah. Yeah, take a deep breath in and breathe out. There we go. Yeah, so it's not too tight. It's just a little bit on each side there. Cool.
Right here. The wall.
Yep, right there, and then also a little bit right in here.
Okay.
Yep. And the nice thing, they actually did some MRIs of like therapists going in to get that muscle, and everything that's in there, the intestines and all that, they just kind of like squish out of the way. So we're like, wait, is that my intestines? Like, no. They squish around, and those tend to move around pretty easy. Cool. All right, so those are our hip flexors, and a lot of times when we're sitting, that's when they get tight. When we're driving and just kind of holding in that position and using the leg, that's when they tend to just tighten up there. So a lot of times if you're doing a back bend and you feel it, then this is a good one to hit. All right, next ones that are also in the front of the hip that we want to focus on are the quad muscles here, right? Yeah. Yes, those tend to get really tight. Yeah. Right, what do you feel when you're there?
It's
Just
tightness.
Yeah.
Hold it for too long so it feels.
Okay, perfect. So this will be a good retest for you to work on it and then come back and try. So we actually have enough foam rollers for everybody. Yes. All right, so I'll demonstrate this one. Boom. Boom. I'll demonstrate this one, and then Allie, I'll give this one to you. Okay. So for that quad muscle, a lot of times if people are foam rolling it, you'll see them foam roll it like this. You want to go really slow. Then the other thing that can be super helpful with this one is the position you're in when it hurts is when your knee is bent, not when your knee is straight. So we bend the knee while we're doing it, that'll stretch the muscle more, and then you'll be able to really find like, ooh, which spot is it that's really tight here? And then nice and slow roll. If you want more pressure, you lift the leg up. Less pressure, put that other leg down. And just, we want this to be where you can tolerate it, right? It should be like, hey, I'm getting in there, I can feel the tenderness, but I can tolerate, I can handle it. And then definitely look for that side to side difference. So kind of laying flat down on it first, then bending the knee. You want to go nice and slow, kind of like a 3 count from top to bottom. If you also tighten up the core while you're here so that your low back isn't drooping, that'll get a little bit more stretch on that muscle from the top end because it's attaching right onto the pelvis. Good. Allie, is that one feeling pretty intense? Okay, cool. Yep, so then.
Does that happen just from not stretching, or what is the?
A lot of times people will overuse the quads instead of glutes and calves and other muscles. And so it's just, it gets used a lot in not very extended positions. So like coming to yoga will help make it a little more flexible and get that stretch. And then this is kind of that next layer of we're rolling it, we're getting those tight spots out. And if you find any bumps, any like real tender bumps as you go, those are kind of knots that we gotta work out. And all a knot is that you've got, muscles have these fibers that go in and out like this to contract, and sometimes they just get caught up and it gets stuck there. And so using the rollers, using the balls, it helps to bring more blood flow in. It helps to kind of relax that knot so that we get those fibers all kind of untangled. It's not really the physiologic best word for it, but untangled, and then we can move it better and have more flexibility. There we go. You can also kind of windshield the wiper the foot a little bit out. See how it feels rolling up and down that way. Windshield wiper the foot in. Right, you're like, I found a new spot, oh my goodness. Right?
Yeah, this one isn't.
Yep. And then this is, you get to control how you're gonna dial up or dial down the intensity. So the more you bend the knee, the more stretch you're gonna have on it. The more weight you put on it, the more intense it will be. So just gonna pull those little levers, dial up, dial down. Paulina, get those abs engaged. Whoop, there you go, perfect. Woo. Is your left side tighter than your right on this one, or are they pretty equal?
I feel like this one, the right side wasn't as painful.
Okay, right, so the left side's a little more painful than that one. Right. Woo, right, you're like both of them are a lot. There we go.
Now it feels a little better for these.
Right, and that's the goal, that as you work on it and kind of like take a pause and come back, that it gets a little bit better and a little better each time. Yeah. Right. You're like, there's the spot, there's the spot. Good job, ladies. And if you haven't already switched sides, make sure you try the other side too. Was that one pretty tight on your left or? Yeah, the left's just like, I can't. Well, and even in pigeon, because the knee is so bent, getting through there, that can also be, if this guy isn't letting go, can be a problem. So we'll use that. Good job, good job. Whew. And then in terms of like time, how much time do you want to spend on each of these muscle groups? It's really only like 2 minutes. Like I was telling you, I had one guy who took the ball, and we're gonna do the glute here, but he was like, oh my gosh, I felt so good. I like did the maximum thing, and I like dug into it super hard for like 15 minutes, and I was so sore for like 5 days. I'm like, that is not, I'm like, that's not what we talked about. Like, so nice and slow rolling. Again, be gentle with your body. You're gonna be working through some tight spots, but go nice and slow. Not fast, not aggressive, just slow. Right, and not 15 minutes. Like 15 minutes on the same muscle. I'm like, oh, that poor muscle. Like, oh. I was like, we're not doing that again. Perfect. Perfect, and take a break. Good. And so the reason why, again, these ones are important, sometimes you'll see people have back pain just standing, and when these ones in front are tight, it'll actually pull your pelvis forward because it attaches right at the front of the pelvis. So it'll pull you here, and then your back muscles are like, well, I'm just gonna fight that. So you get more stress on the muscles here, and then the joints also have to stay in that more extended position for a long time. So that's why we loosen these guys up. And then in yoga, we're working on strengthening our core so that we can be nice and straight instead of like out, right? Perfect. All right, so those are our front of the hip ones. How are we doing time? We're doing good. Okay, now the back of the hip. We have we'll go to this one. We've got a bunch of muscles back here in the back of the hip. So I think it's on your next page. So you've got your glutes, the big muscles right in the back. Deep down to that, you also have the piriformis muscle and a handful of other little rotators. I will not quiz you on their names, but they're the gemelli. So you've got those guys plus the hamstring. So mostly that big glute on top, the hamstring under here, and then the little glute, the little piriformis underneath the glute is way, way down here. A lot of times people will know the piriformis muscle because that sciatic nerve pops right under it. Or in some people, the sciatic nerve actually goes through the muscle. And so if that one's tight, extra compression, and people get the pain here and the pain down the leg. So we'll work on using either the foam roller or the ball on this one. The ball is much more intense. The foam roller is a much wider area, so it will be a good place to start. And then if you want to try a little bit more pinpoint in there, the ball's next for you. So let me borrow this guy. And we've got some different levels with this one. So we're gonna start kind of sitting right on top of it. Then you're gonna lean over to the side so that you're kind of on that butt cheek. And you can start there. If that's enough, cool. If you're like, you know what, it's good, but I could handle a little bit more, then you're gonna bring this leg up and over into like a figure 4 stretch as you're going. If, again, if you're like, hey, I can't really feel, I can't really get in there, then swap it out for the ball. That ball, again, is a lot more pinpoint. Go nice and slow. Start here with the legs, and then if you're like, okay, cool, I need to really get in there more, then you can go figure 4 with this one too. That one's a little bit more intense. There we go. All right, so sitting right on top of that foam roller or ball. I'll use this if you're not using that one. I'll demonstrate. Boom. So sitting right on top of it, and then you're gonna kind of lean to the side. You can shift the hips over just a little bit, and then a nice slow roll right over that butt cheek, right on that glute muscle. And there we go. Some people tend to be more tight in like the upper glute, like that intersection going to the back. And in that case, you can kind of lean back onto the elbow and get that one a little more that way. All right, there we go. Good job. And now if you turn your shoulders a little more, then it'll make it easier to get that hand down. Yep. How's that one feeling? Whew. Nice, good. And again, you can kind of turn a little more to the side to get more by this bone over here. This is your greater trochanter, the bone on the outside. or you can turn a little bit more belly button to the ceiling to get closer to the sacrum. There we go. Woo. Nice and slow. And then if you want a little bit more out of this, remember you can go into that figure 4 stretch, crossing that leg over. You can hang on to the knee. That way you got a little bit more support. So you're anchored down on the hand and on the leg. And then just going a little bit back and forth. Nice. You are on the ball. So you can lean a little bit more to the side. Yeah. Sometimes people will have that hip pain right on the side, and they'll diagnose it as like greater trochanteric bursitis. Sometimes it's not just the bursa, it's also those tendons as they go from the muscle into the bone. And if the muscle is really tight, it can put a constant tension and pull on the tendon. And so this can be really helpful for taking tension off the tendons. It looks like you're finding some spots. How's your right side compare? If you haven't already, go ahead and shift sides. That way we get that comparison. Whew.
Like a good hurt, though. Like a.
Right? That hurts so good. Nice. That's where we want to be. And when you find that more tender spot, you can even just hold on it and do a couple deep breaths. Yep. There we go. Good. Good job, guys. Whew. Did you find some good spots?
Yeah, first left was more tight than the right.
Right, right. And especially for that, did you try getting up and across this way?
I tried.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
Was it a little stuck getting there?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if you want help trying to get into that one.
I'm
too.
gonna try a little bit of the ball.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Good job, guys. And actually, I'm gonna go see if we can steal the bench from the lobby for the next one. So take just like,
I mean, I have a foam roller and a lacrosse ball at home. I don't roll out on a regular basis. Like, what's the recommended, like?
yeah, it depends how tight you are. So like if you're actively trying to work on a spot to get it loosened up, I'd say at least once a day. If you're like, oh my gosh, I need to get this going, then you could do like morning and evening. And especially if you've got like, hey, there are like 2 or 3 muscle groups I know I need to hit, then just make like a 5-minute morning and a 5-minute afternoon routine out of it. And put the ball someplace where you see it all the time. That way you're walking by, or like, I'll have like, there's one in the car, there's one in the living room, there's one in the bathroom, and that way you're seeing it and it's reminding you of like, oh yeah, that's right, I needed to do that. Because otherwise it's just easy to get to the end of the day and be like, oh nuts, I'm in bed and I forgot, and I'm not getting out of bed now. Like, cool, perfect. Okay, let me go see if we can grab the bench for the next one. Can you help me move this bench in there?
Oh, yes.
This will be perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
I don't know if I've met you yet, by the way.
No, this is our first time meeting.
Oh,
I'm sure.
nice. I'm Connie.
Oh, nice
to meet you.
Yeah, I'm one of the new front desk people.
Perfect. All right. We're gonna go a little bit closer in here. Perfect. Awesome. All right, if everyone wants to bring your little ball over with you. This is one that you can do it on the floor, but it just doesn't quite work out as well as if you have something to sit on. At home, I tell people if you've got like a hard, very firm wood chair, that's the best thing to use. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I just don't. I'm like, all right, get a cutting board, put it under here and then use that. But you need something firm so that the ball will actually go like up into the muscle. And then if you need a little bit more pressure, you just kind of lean on it with your forearms. But finding right in that hamstring, and then you're gonna start to straighten the leg just a little bit. So we're just gonna, it's called attack and stretch. We're gonna attack that spot down, and then we're just gonna do a little stretch on it and back in. And then you can find, the hamstring is 4 muscles, 2 on the outside, 2 on the inside, that nerve runs right down the middle. So sometimes that in the middle spot just gets so like stuck down. So move it around, try and find the spot that you're really feeling it. Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we got enough space. We might be able to fit all of us on here. We'll see. Right. Good. Go ahead and face that way. We'll kind of get you staggered in here. Joyce, I'm gonna have you move left just a smidge. All right, and then if you want to come on the angle here. All right, did we get it? Did we get did we get enough space? Yep, perfect. So once you find one of those tender spots, just right, you're like, I found one. You can also do this one literally just like on the floor going here, but you just don't get into it nearly as much. It's like rolling over the surface, and we really got to get like up in there. Yeah. You can even turn a little bit sideways to give you a little more space over here if you want. There we go. Did you find a good spot? Paulina, how's that one doing? Right, you got some spots, right? Seems like we got left side, right?
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's got left-sided stuff today.
On that side, so I think like
Right, that was your baby side.
right-handed, so like just hold them on
Yeah, yeah. You're like, this is my holding hand, this is my skill hand. We're doing this. Yep, and then make sure you switch sides, kind of check out how that other side is doing too.
This is good to do after deadlifts, right?
Or even before deadlifts. Yes. A lot of times people are going through deadlifts and you get part way and then your hamstrings are like, no. So then your back moves. And then the back is just like, I was not made to move with this load in this position in this way. So a lot of times too, if we are working on the back muscles, we'll do a different kind of lift to really get that control versus trying to do the deadlift and then losing it. Oh, deadlifts they're an awesome exercise. We get lots of good stuff out of deadlifts when we do them right. There we go. We'll spend just like 1 more minute on this one and then we'll move on. Perfect. Sometimes when I have people who the nerve doesn't move very well through the back of the leg there, then we'll really attack this hamstring area and that kind of in-between spot. And so all these techniques that we're using right now, they're all compressive. They're like pushing on the muscle to get it loosened up. I did bring the cups just to kind of show you guys another option of something that like pulls up instead of pushing down to get things loosened up too. Cool. All right, any questions on this one? We got it, we got it? Perfect. All right, we can head back over to the mats. Let's see. All right, so we got those hamstrings. So glutes and hamstrings, those are the ones that we want to loosen up for like the forward folds. Anything going forward is going to be more helpful when we can move that direction. So especially getting prepped for deadlifts, forward folds here. Even getting into Warrior 3. Things like that, especially that glute muscle. We tend not to think about what's happening over here, but as you're trying to go here, a lot of times the glute and hamstring will be tight and your body will go this way because it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to lengthen that out. So when we start loosening this up, then we're able to close this down and have hips pointed straight toward the floor, and then that's when you start to feel like, oh my gosh, now I'm using that glute muscle over here. So now the Warrior 3 example. Right? All right. So let's do this. Let's do the last one over at the low back, and then we'll retest some of our moves, okay? So this one I like to get up at the wall, but you can also do it on the floor. So I'll show you both versions. For the back muscles, you have a lot of them, like a lot of them in here. We're gonna go for the QL muscle that is just, if you've got the top of the pelvis here, the bottom of the rib cage, it goes up and down right here. And it also attaches to the spine this way. So it's called the quadratus lumborum because it's like a little quadrangular shape right there. So we're gonna get right in that. On the ground's a little bit more aggressive, on the wall's a little bit easier. So you're gonna put the ball right in that spot. And then you can even bring that knee up towards your chest. That's going to kind of push it into the ball. And then take a couple of deep breaths, right? Jamie, go a little bit lower. Yep. You can get that one too, but we'll find the QL first. And good. We're gonna do the QL muscle and then we'll also hit the lat muscle over here. Good, take some deep breaths. You can also do a little bit of a roll over to that side to kind of get a little different angle on that muscle too. There we go. Perfect. Good, and then go ahead and try the other side. Good, so you can start with both knees bent and then you'll draw the knee on the side with the ball up towards your chest and that'll help push that muscle into the ball, especially if you give that knee a little hug and squeeze. Good, anyone feeling a little tender on this one? Yep. You're like this, right? Like the left side. You're like this muscle has been doing some work here. Good, take those deep breaths in and out. Holding stress and tension can for sure increase the tightness and tension on those muscles. So taking those deep breaths is a way to get that calming parasympathetic nervous system on board to also help release some of that tension. Every once in a while I'll have somebody do box breathing while they're doing their rolling. That's like 4 counts breathing in, 4 counts holding at the top, 4 counts breathing out, and 4 counts holding at the bottom. And they're just going through that cycle to bring the nervous system down. It's also a really good thing to do after a workout to start getting into recovery mode quickly. Perfect. All right, let me also show you guys how to do this on the wall. I like to do as much as we can by our mats because that's where you can set up before class and just do it. But if you're looking for another way to get in here, you can just bring that ball right up to the wall. Get into kind of like a mini squat here and then just do a little roll side to side and look for those tight spots there too. The only place you don't want to go is like directly on the spine, but going a little on the side is okay. All right, cool. So we got the low back ones. I do also want to show you the lat muscles. So we tend to think of lats as like, hey, we're doing like lat pull downs, it's a shoulder muscle, but it really is going from back here all the way up to the shoulder. So it covers this huge area. And if you're trying to do anything with your arms that are up here, it needs to be flexible. So a lot of times we're working it out, pulling down, but we didn't necessarily work on the flexibility getting it up. So for that one, we're gonna take the foam roller. You're gonna start up by the shoulder and kind of going up and down, see what you feel. You can roll a little bit more toward your back with your chest pointed to the sky. As you get lower on this, to stay along the lat, you're gonna have to point your chest even more up to the sky this way. And then you've got this other arm to kind of support you through here. Go for it. Yes. Right, start with the foam roll, It's so tight, right? It'll be interesting to see if even your left lat is tighter than your right.
Do a lot of pull-ups
And stuff, right? You're like, I get this going. I feel like CrossFit is another place where like, if there was just like 10 or 15 minutes of mobility beforehand and then after it would be like, okay, we got this. We can get into our squats well. We can get into our stuff.
Well, that's why I'm so happy I found this place because I need
Yes.
yoga to complement my
Yes.
CrossFit.
Right, you need the balance,
Yes.
right? Yes, I like it, good job. Yeah, the lats are definitely, right? Joyce is like, I'm glad I started on the foam roller. Right? And then for the lat too, if you want to get more of a stretch on it, try and send that arm on the foam roller a little bit more up when you're up by the shoulder especially. Yep. So that way you're getting the stretch on it. A lot of times in CrossFit when we're checking like overhead press, I'll have people like in a squat position against the wall and see how far they can get. And sometimes it's bad. It's like out here. And I'm like, no, you need to be able to get all the way. There we go. Good. Your right side. Your left side's like, there's already enough tightness in the shoulder. The lat doesn't need to hold on.
There's nothing going on with it.
Right. Good job. If you haven't already switched sides, make sure you switch sides so you can see how that one's feeling. And remember, you're starting up by the shoulder, but then that muscle goes all the way down to the back. So you can flip that chest a little more toward the ceiling as you get lower and follow it along that mid back to lower back. Just use that hand to give you a little more support behind you.
My neck worked really hard yesterday.
You're like, my neck muscles are tired.
Hanging out again.
Not this position again. There we go. Good job, guys. Woo. Right. Yeah, that's when the lats, also for CrossFit, triceps tend to be like really tight. And that one's like, if you're at a table, you can put it down and just get it. It's a little hard to get sitting, but yeah, triceps get really tight, especially when people are trying to get to skull crushers. They're like, I just can't get there. It's like, well, this needs to go like all the way up. Cool. All right, let's do a couple retests. That way we can recheck our stuff and kind of see how it's feeling. And then we can talk a little bit about the joints too. All right, so let's go ahead and get to standing. So go in tabletop, push back onto those feet, slowly roll up. That way we don't get too dizzy, having all that blood go down from the head too fast. All right, so let's try the back bend first, see how that's feeling. Nice. Good, and we're either looking for less pain, less tightness, or just like, hey, now I can go a little farther. It feels a little freer, right? Yes. Awesome, and then let's see that taking the hands toward the floor and then seeing how far the hands can go down. If we can get further, nice, we look like we're a little further. And then if we get less tension, like through, Paulina, how's the back feeling? Okay, nice. Does anybody feel like they can get farther?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is good if you do this kind of stuff before you hit yoga, then you're going through class teaching your body how to use that mobility. So, again, not that you have to do all of them, but like 1 minute of one of them, 1 minute of another one, and just kind of pick them out. Cool, and then we're gonna check our pigeons. So, putting hands down to the floor, stepping back, send the hips back toward a downward facing dog. Let's lift that right foot up toward the ceiling. And then bring that right knee through. Doing that nice 7 across going here. Good. All right, what are you feeling when you're here? Is it tight here? It looks better. So here, okay, perfect. One of the things I like to do in pigeon to get the hip joint moving better is I'll actually take the forearm and kind of stick it right in the hip crease. And I kind of put my hand toward either my heel or underneath that ankle and then push down into that hip as you go. There we go. So if that hip joint is the thing that's kind of getting in the way, then this will help get it out of the way a little bit. There we go. You can also do a little turn of the shoulders toward the knee and away from the knee to get a little more stretch in the back of the hip, and then take that stretch off. A little more stretch in the back of the hip, turning the shoulders toward that leg, and then relax it, take it off. Good. Good. Another thing that you probably, if I'm in class and we do pigeon, I almost always do this when we get here, is I know that this hip flexor tends to be tight in this position, so I'll grab my foot and then pull it up, and I'll do a little push and pull to kind of get that quad loosened up, and I'll also do a little windshield wiper. Having a strap to put around the ankle can help too, especially, for first day, this is a little advanced for a first day move. But then even windshield wipering this foot side to side will just give a little bit different stretch on the different hip flexors. When you, yeah, because it's tight. So that's definitely where you want to bring the strap in and use the strap to get there.
Even with the strap.
Okay. With the strap, if you push your foot into your hand, it'll deactivate the hamstring and activate the quad.
Okay.
So that'll be, even when you come down, because when you let go, it'll probably cramp. So you want to keep that tension on the strap as you come down too. Okay. Yeah. Or lean really, really far forward as you're trying to bring it up. That'll also give your hamstring a little easier time. Okay. Yeah. This is, we can get some straps and play around with that. Yeah. In the foot or in the? Yep, so a lot of times when we're cramping, it's because we don't quite have enough range to get through it easy, so then the muscles on that side are trying to work to get you there. So like the hamstring, when the quad is tight, the hamstring's like, oh my gosh, I can't work that hard against the resistance I'm getting from this muscle. So that's why doing the foam rolling and stuff beforehand can get you a little bit farther. Or like doing a quad stretch before you get to the pigeon can then help you reach it a little easier. Cool. All right, let's switch sides. So we can throw the other leg back. If you want to send it up in the air, shake it out, you can. Next, we'll bring both feet down. We're going to bring that left foot up toward the ceiling and then drive that left knee through toward the hands, creating that diagonal there. All right, perfect. And then if you want to add that little hip one in, you're going to get the forearm right in the hip crease. Then hand is going to go underneath the heel. You're gonna lean into it, and your body pushing into this is gonna push that hand down, that forearm down into the hip crease. Perfect, and then you can do turning the shoulders toward that knee and away from the knee. Cool, it looks a little better, but how's it feeling?
Pretty much the same, actually.
Okay, where's the pain?
Behind the knee.
Oh, in the back of the knee here?
Correct.
Okay, got it. We're gonna do some other strategies to get there then. Cool, all right. We gotta create more space behind the knee. Yep. All right, all right. Yep. Yep, yep. All right. Do you have a little towel in your bag?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and get it out. We're going to use it for your knee too. All right. Good.
So let me ask, when I was in this pose with my other knee, like I felt a lot of pain. Well, not a lot.
In the knee?
Pain,
Right. Some of these muscles can be tight pull in here, or we're going to go over one for the knee that creates a little bit more space in the actual knee joint. I know it's not knee day, but we're going to do it anyways. Right? Yeah, it might be big enough. You can also use your hands to kind of get space in there. So say when we're like going into a child's pose, we're getting kind of a similar knee bend. So if you either take the towel or your hand and you go like right behind the knee, really push the hands like way straight forward as much as you can, and then sit back. It's going to create a little bit more space. When I teach people this in the clinic, it's usually like a kid's beach towel is size. So it's like, it's got a little bit of thickness, but it's not a big beach towel. And it just creates a little bit more space in there, in that knee joint too. So when we sit back and then come forward, and sit back and come forward. And you may have to even like push it forward behind your knee too. Yep. If you have knee joints that move really easy, then it just may feel like nothing. But if you got knee joints that are tight, then it can help. Cool. Let me give you.
Sitting in heroes pose, that's so hard.
Right. I'm going to take this, go ahead and come up. Good. I'm going to pull this forward like that and then sit back. How's that one feeling?
Still really tight.
Yeah, right. Good.
Better.
Yeah. And so a little bit bigger towel too will help you with this one.
Okay.
And then just kind of working it back and forth. Yeah, actually, well, that's tight through there. There we go. Nice. Good job. Yeah, so it's going to take a little bit of work getting it loosened up, right? Yeah, especially when we got meniscus things going on in there. We need to give it enough space so it can roll nicely.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Thank you.
Perfect. You're welcome. Any questions on what we've gone over so far today? Okay, perfect. Everyone feel just a little bit looser in their hips? Nice. Perfect. So I will make sure, as long as you signed in on this thing, I'll make sure to send you guys the recording of this. That way you can go back and be like, what did we talk about? What did we do? And that way you've always got a reference to it. You can come back and see too. I'll try and get these guys in a little PDF that I can send you too. That way you've just got lots of muscles. If you're like, where was that one?